Welcome back to the Kilowatts. A few months ago, we told you that our Mustang Mach-E wasn't maybe yet as much of a Mustang as we had hoped. It wasn't sporty enough or enough performance. Well, Ford saw that and now they set us up with a Mach-E GT, and we're finally gonna get to see if it deserves that now illuminated Mustang badge.
1, 2, 3, 4. Give me go.
Today, we're comparing our 2021 premium all-wheel drive Mustang Mach-E to the new Mustang Mach-E GT and GT Performance to see how the latest and greatest Mustang Mach-E compares to the model we purchased back in February. And by the end, I'll tell you which one I would buy if I were to do it all over again. Our premium all-wheel drive model with Ford's extended range battery delivers 270 miles of range and can go from 0 to 60 in a reasonably quick 4.8 seconds. While we praised it as one of the best EVs on the market at the time, after comparing it to our acceleration-boosted dual-motor Model Y, our performance Model Y, and testing its limits on the track, it left us wanting more. But with modifying the powertrain basically out of the picture, Ford was going to need to be the one to breathe some performance life into this pony. At first glance though, all three of these models look pretty similar, with both GT models receiving an improved front fascia, larger, better-looking 20-inch wheels, and much-needed 245 wide tires. They've also got improved Brembo brakes and GT badging on the rear. That's it. On the outside, not much has changed. The only visible exterior improvement given to the GT Performance, beyond just the GT model, is a better-looking set of 20-inch wheels, sportier summer tires instead of the standard all-seasons, and the Brembo logo painted on the brake calipers. On the inside of these sporty SUVs, the visual improvements are limited to a few minor upgraded trim elements, but are majorly differentiated by their front seats. Looking first at our premium all-wheel drive model, the standard perforated seats with Active X, Ford's fake leather, are fairly comfortable for long drives, but lack significant bolstering for more spirited driving. With the GT model, Ford finally delivers a more sporty looking seat with suede-like material stitched down the middle and great bolstering on both sides. Finally, moving up to the GT Performance, Ford delivers their own in-house large bucket seats with a fixed headrest and no seat back pockets because, well, race car, I guess. We got a chance to test these seats and the GT Performance in an autocross format that Ford set up for us. We are in unbridled extend, meaning that it doesn't have the same peak power, but with 75% state of charge, we should have no problem really pushing it still for multiple laps. We're gonna do 2 laps, and here we go. All right, this thing is powerful. You feel the body roll, but it feels very controlled too. The bolstering is absolutely much better, what it needs to be for a performance vehicle. I definitely enjoyed that. Again, you still feel a little bit of the body roll, but this car is very playful. It is very fun to drive, and it loves being at its limits and drifting through the corners. Very fun. Nice job, Ford. Let's briefly cover the performance stats. The GT will do 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds. The GT Performance will do it in a noticeably quicker 3.5 seconds. And as I mentioned earlier, our personal extended range all-wheel drive will do it in a still quick 4.8 seconds. For reference, our premium extended range all-wheel drive model cost us about $55,000 before incentives earlier this year, and it would only cost an additional $5,000 to get behind the wheel of a GT, or $10,000 to get behind the wheel of a GT Performance. However, with the GT models, the glass roof and Blue Cruise come separately for a combined $3,400. So how does the GT feel compared to the GT Performance? Well, we got a couple of hours with both to drive along Northern California's windy coastal roads, and we, for the most part, never really left unbridled mode. Now this is something I've been waiting for a little while. We are finally getting a chance to push the Mustang Mach-E GT Performance to see what it's got, and it has got quite a lot. As I'm driving through these canyon roads along the coast, it accelerates very hard and it ramps up on that acceleration. It also brakes very hard. At both ends, it wants to go and it wants to stop, and wow. I mean, you can feel the weight of this car, but it is fun. It is a fun beast to drive. This car feels fierce. It feels heavy but I also feel like I have full control over the steering wheel. Yeah, it'll throw your head back. Just boom. And brakes on. This thing is aggressive. It delivers just that little bit more sportiness, that little bit more fun. And those little bit wider tires definitely give me more confidence here on the road. And yeah, that acceleration that just throws your head back and just keeps on pulling. All right, now we are in the Mustang Mach-E GT non-performance. Off the line, 3, 2, 1. Oh, the front tire's slipping just a little bit as we go up that hill. But it took off, that was great. Just getting started, this is once again a very similar experience. Not too much has changed. The seats are bolstered, but not bolstered quite as much as the GT Performance, but still a little bit more than the just standard, premium Mach-E. And to be honest, I'm really happy with that. I've got the right amount of bolstering now on my sides. I'm not fully sunken back into the seat, but that's really what I want for a daily driver, especially one that doesn't have cooled seats. Overall though, I really like how this car accelerates. You still get that 3.8 second 0 to 60, which is not quite as fast as that 3.5 second, but the acceleration curve is just much more linear. I don't feel like it's overly playful like the Performance that kind of ramps into the acceleration. And that's kind of the same with the suspension. I know that people who probably track cars or love Mustangs will probably tell you that you really want that additional Magna-Ride suspension, but I prefer this more linear, just very connected experience that the GT non-performance provides over the Performance. So if you have to ask just at the start, I already like this more than I like the GT Performance, which is not what I came in expecting to say. One thing I am noticing with the Mach-E GT non-performance is you do hear just a little bit more of the road noise. I'm sure that's just because it doesn't have that Magna-Ride suspension. And to be honest, it's still very quiet. It's a very quiet car, but the GT Performance was just slightly noticeably quieter than the standard Mustang Mach-E GT. So as you just saw, both the GT and GT Performance are incredibly fun to drive and way, way improved compared to the all-wheel drive premium model that we pulled up in. But surprisingly, I actually would prefer the GT non-performance for my daily driver. And that comes down to the Magna-Ride suspension, something in the acceleration, and honestly the seats. For the Magna-Ride suspension, the dampening it seemed to disconnect from my brain and I didn't feel as connected to the road. With the acceleration, it was kind of the same thing. I prefer a linear ramp of acceleration, and there was something in that acceleration curve that just picked up as you accelerated, and it honestly felt kind of like the Lucid in that way. I'm sure some people will love it, but it just wasn't my favorite. And then finally, those seats. The bucket seats, while they are cool, it seemed to constrain me at the shoulders. I felt limited, and while that was great for the autocross, it wasn't really what I prefer for daily driving. This is one of those rare cases where I really think they've just nailed the balance in the GT, and the GT Performance, while it has all that extra power available that I normally want, I really love how the GT non-performance feels. Finally, some personal news on a related note. We will be driving our Mustang Mach-E GT across country with Misco Electric as a part of the Charge Across America rally race starting on October 31st. We still don't have quite all of the details worked out, but we will have more information to share with you soon, so be sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe, follow, and we'll see you in the next one.